We are in a very odd housing market with high prices. Is it okay if I buy a slightly negative cash flow property?
That's how my students are getting deals now because it's hard to find cash flow.
And I'm looking at these numbers going, do you really think you're going to make $250 a month on these? He goes, no, 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 Michael, that's negative 250. I can afford it. Folks, Casey and I hear you. We are in a very odd housing market with high prices and very high rates. We both know it is extremely hard to find positive cash flow properties. We are both being asked almost daily, hey, Casey, hey, Michael, is it okay if I buy a slightly negative cash flow property? It's a great deal. I love the house, mortgage pay down, this, that, the other thing. Is it okay? And I can afford it. I can afford the negative cash flow. So, Casey, is it okay to close on a negative cash flow property? Because there's nothing out there that cash flows.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Video
that's,
over.
That's the answer. The answer is no. And I'm sure, it's 50-50. Some people would say yes, it's worth it. Some people would say no. My answer still is no. And especially for newer investors who don't really know what they're doing. And I really do understand, Michael, like what you said. I understand why people are like, they're making excuses now. They're trying to find a way to get it to work. It's been so hard. They've made so many offers. They're looking all the time. It's been several months. They're getting antsy. They just want to get something. Maybe they'll just get something and like it almost cash flows and it will cash flow in a couple years. How about that? And it's like, no, you just got to be patient. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Like, we don't know what interest rates will be. They might be worse than 8%. I mean, I don't think so. But I don't know. Maybe, right? Rates were double digits 20 years ago. They could get there again. What if housing prices do crash? I don't think that they will, but what if they do? Now you are negative cash flowing and your property's not worth even, what you bought it for, so you can't sell it. And what is that going to make you go bankrupt? And if you're using your HELOC to pay for your property, now your own home's at jeopardy. There's just too many scary factors for buying a property that doesn't cash flow. The whole point of buying real estate as an investor is to make money, right? Not just to own a house that's a liability. It's supposed to be an asset. So you have to make sure the property cash flows. And I mean, if let's say I guess my other side of my shoulder would say, okay, you buy a house in a really amazing neighborhood, right? And you really want to be there because it's going to appreciate, but it doesn't cash flow at a 20-25% down. Maybe it cash flows at 35% down. Okay. I would say that would be my solution. Put a little bit more down if you're in a B neighborhood.
Any property can cash flow if you put enough down.
Exactly. So that would be my solution, is if there's really an area, maybe put a little bit more down if you're in this amazing neighborhood, right, with high quality tenants. That would, but you still need to cash.
Yeah, my answer to this question is you're very kind. My answer is hell no.
Yeah.
Right. I've been doing this a long time. I remember, I wrote about it in my first book, One Rental at a Time. I went into an executive's office. I was working at Hewlett Packard at the time, HP. I went into this office with a VP of something, and on the whiteboard, he drew out, I think it was 4 properties, and he knew I was in real estate because I was on Bigger Pockets and all this other stuff, so I was pretty well known then. And he goes, Michael, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. And he's showing me these 4 properties, and at the bottom, he circled 250. 250 times 4 is $1,000. And I'm looking at these numbers going, do you really think you're going to make $250 a month on these? He goes, no, 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 Michael, that's negative 250. So I'm like, wait a minute. So you're going to lose $1,000 a month. Best case. So have these 4 properties. And he goes, Michael, I can afford it. Like, you arrogant son of a gun. Lo and behold, he could afford it. He did buy them because he was smarter than me. Because my advice was, you're an idiot. What are you doing? And sure enough, you fast forward, he lost all 4 of them. Not because he couldn't afford them, because he could always afford them. He never lost his job. What happened is the values crashed, and he got tired of writing $1,000 checks. So
Yep.
he had 3 short sales and 1 foreclosure. Um,
Wow.
no, folks, hell no. The only time that I will accept negative cash flow day one is if you clearly see value add opportunities and it will
Mhm.
increase the rent within 6 months or less. Here's an example. A lot of houses I bought in kind of like 12, 13, 14 were 2-bedroom, 1-bath houses that are about 1,000 to 1,100 square feet. That is because I could buy a 2 and rent a 3. I would take
Yep.
the den or the dining room, the formal dining, and it would become a bedroom. Those are the only types of things that I would accept negative cash flow day one. It's because, hey, yes, it's negative cash flow as a 2-bedroom, but it's positive cash flow as a three
With a
bedroom.
purpose.
I know it takes me $4,000 to add a door, a closet, and egress. We're good to go. Those are the
Yep.
only ones.
And I will say, like, that's how my students are getting deals now, because it's hard to find cash flow straight across the board with a almost rent ready property out of area with 8% interest. It's more difficult. Even buying the rate down, still more difficult. It's the hardest market I worked in. It's difficult. So the value add opportunities are where you're going to be able to find that cash flow. So I'm teaching all my students, and I've done this myself. Buy property, look for properties, right, that are oversized, high square footage, where you can convert a formal living or formal dining room into an extra room, wall it off, add a door, boom, now you got an extra bedroom. Another thing, which you mentioned, the only way that I would, allow negative cash flowing property. So a lot of properties come tenant occupied, and many landlords, right, don't raise the rent, and so they're significantly under market value, the tenants that are there. So if you like the tenants, right, they're keeping the place nice, right, and they pay on time, and they're willing to stay with the rent increase, right, or they're on month to month, and you can get them out and or fix it up or re-rent at the higher rate, then I'm also okay buying a negative cash flowing property with a below market tenant, as long as in the next few months, I'm like 4 months kind of at the most is my
Yeah.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the rent above market rent with whatever you do. Just get them out, get a new tenant in there, raise their rent, or get them
Yeah.
out, fix it up, raise the rent,
Yeah. Get it to
whatever. But
market. Yeah. You've
you got
got
to,
to
that's the whole, you've got to have the plan to
you
get
got to
it to
have the
market
plan.
rent.
And you got to see it. It's
Mhm.
not like it's not some pro forma. I hope, I wish, it's no negative cash flow kills more dreams. Because again, I don't know if you guys know this, but stuff breaks. And you don't want to
Yes.
start with negative cash flow because it only gets worse from there.
Yeah, that one air conditioner, $3,000. There it goes.
Yeah.
For at least it's a capex expense, right? So you're raising the value of your property, but little
No.
things here and there, and that's one thing. What I'm really not a fan of buying houses that have been rentals for a really long time. I really don't like that, like the grandma houses,
Mm.
where they've been taken
Yeah.
care of, everything's fixed all the time. Because a lot of times the property management companies will just put band-aids, cheap
Yeah.
parts,
Band-aid, band-aid, band-aid. Yep.
yeah, and then you've got a lot of problems over several years of the property because things were kind of Mickey Mouse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't like buying houses that have been rentals for a long time just because I'll have more repairs.
There you go. Casey, you do an amazing job on Instagram and other places. Where can people find you?
People can find me every day on Instagram at Brick by Brick Wealth, and every other social media platform, just Brick by Brick Wealth.
And you will be in Vegas February 17th and 18th. If people want to come take a picture, a selfie, get an autograph, whatever it is, you will be there with the One Rental at a Time community. So I look forward to that.
I'm excited. Thank
There
you.
you go.